Alright everyone, welcome back to everyone's favorite series. Let's yap about some weapons for a long period of time. Hopefully this is going to be a lot faster than my other ones. I'm going to try to get through them a little bit quicker, but we're going to be going over all the ritual weapons in this one, so think just all the weapons that came to Vanguard, Crucible, Gambit. Everything from the competitive weapon, the Nightfall weapons, or just the base weapons, everything like that. There's going to be 6 of them. I'm pretty sure I got them all, and they're honestly very good. Like, low-key, some of the best weapons in the game, potentially. And even starting with the first one right here, let's just go on and get right into it. We have a brand new rocket launcher called the Cynosure. I'm pretty sure, no pun intended, that's how you say that. But these are going to be ones that have a long list of perks, so they're bound to have good perks on them, but obviously they're very hard to get, so you got to farm out a bunch of rep and get the multiple perk options, and the Tarian Ingrams in. So this one you might want to be on the lookout for, because again, this is going to be a strand rocket, and it has reconstruction, envious, demo, field prep, in clown cartridge, and overflow. Those are the go-to perks in the first column. And then in the second column, you have things like Elemental Honing, which actually is pretty decent, explosive light, bipod. I guess you can throw last impression in there. And honestly, that's about it in the second column. So in the first column, obviously you have pretty much all the heavy hitters, but the things that are pointing out are definitely things like Envious Arsenal. You can then pair that with some sort of damage perk. Lasting Impression gives a 25% damage increase. It could be decent. If you like Explosive Light, you can take that. That would also be decent. Even like Bipod with Envious could be interesting, because you could just shoot 2 rockets and then do the Envious swap, and then you would just have 2 more rockets ready to shoot. But I think the interesting one is definitely going to be Elemental Honing, because if you do enough damage with different elements, you're going to be able to stack a lot of damage up this and just keep swapping back and forth. But also with Envious, you can pair this with Envious, you can also change it to things like Reconstruction, just anything you kind of want. Again, it has a bunch of just good heavy hitter perks. Overflow alongside Bipod, you're going to get 4 in the magazine. It's very good. This is probably going to compete with He's Vengeance. I think He's Vengeance probably is going to take the cake at being the best rocket in the game because of its origin trait. But I mean, not many rockets have overflow. The fact that this can get it, and it's literally just a Vanguard rocket launcher, and it has good perks to pair with it, Bipod, Explosive Light, Elemental Honing. This thing is honestly pretty solid, and definitely one I will look out for. Now, for the next weapon, we have Joxer's Longsword. And this is a heavy burst, so this is going to be your 2-round burst pulse rifles. Still some of the best primary weapons in the game, and this one is going to come from Crucible. So in the first column, Demo, Dragonfly, Pugilist, Enlighten Action, Rewind Rounds, I guess, Repulsor Brace, and Shoot to Loot. I guess Trads is for class ability builds. Second column, Desperado, Desperate Measures, Destabilizing Rounds, Withering Gaze. What else do we have here? One for All. We have the new perk, Demoralize. So there's a lot of good perks on this. And again, this archetype is still like some of the best primary DPS in the game. Like they're just very, very good. So I mean, you can go an ad clear route with Dragonfly, Destabilizing Rounds. I mean, you're going to blow up a whole battlefield with this. Destabilizing buff, this will be disgusting. Even if you don't want to take Dragonfly, you can pair Destabilizing, with something like Demo, Pugilist. You can get some ability regen. Demo Destabilized Rounds would be absolutely disgusting for any specific Void build. I mean, honestly, just any build in the game with this current episode going on. But you even have the other options. You can pair things like Withering Gaze on here, so you can actually get a Weaken, which is very, very nice. Also, Demoralize could be interesting, because you get a precision kill, you're going to weaken everything around it. Pair that with Dragonfly, you're probably going to kill absolutely everything. You even have the classic role of things like Repulsor Brace, and also Destabilize Rounds again, because you get the Overshield. Alongside that, you can even pair that with Withering Gaze, low-key. You will still get the Overshield. Shoot to Loot's literally one of the best PvE perks in the game, especially at harder in-game content. So Shoot to Loot, Destabilizing Rounds is also a god tier combination. There's literally so much that's good on here. Even if you just want a classic, reload damage perk, it has that too. There's nothing you can go wrong with this pulse rifle. It has a good origin trait as well. Literally, if you want to build this in any certain way, you can do it. If you want a specific void setup, it has it. If you just want a good pulse rifle to do damage, it has it. It also looks like it has good PvP perks too. Oh, one for all on here as well. So literally, you can just get one for all and just do a ton of damage. One for all Dragonfly, pair that together. The Dragonfly will proc one for all. You can kind of see how this is disgusting. I probably will be farming for one of these for PV. I actually do already have a Repulse Resist destabilizing round one. I got it in a random Crucible match I was doing. But yeah, this thing is very, very good, and I would not sleep on it. Definitely be on the lookout for this. But next up is Backcfang. Now, this is going to be an Arc Rapid Fire Glaive. This is going to come from Gambit. Bro, I'm going to be honest, kind of like I've done it in my other videos. Glaives are, like, they have their perks, right? They have the perks. Impulse Amplifier is a good glaive perk. It does have a new perk, Melee Momentum, so melee final blows will grant this bonus energy and movement speed when you're blocking. I don't particularly think that's going to be anything crazy. Move by object, that's kind of one to point out. It's pretty decent. Plenishing Agents, another great glaive perk if you are, you know, shooting with it. Field prep for ammo, lead from gold from ammo, and I guess Mulligan's interesting. I don't even think this has ever been on the glaive, but it does have jolting feedback and volt shot, which I think is where it's going to come into play. If you want to have a jolt glaive, you can obviously pair that with impulse amplifier, which is really the only reload based perk over here. But I mean, it's a pretty decent one though, so you can actually get the reload off, or again, jolting feedback, you don't even have to reload. Surrounded, swashbuckler. Grave Robber, I forgot to mention in the first column. It just has some classic glaive perks. Unstoppable Force, close to melee. So however you want to build it. I mean, close to melee, Grave Robber, obviously very good if you're just building into a melee build. Unstoppable Force, Replenishing Aegis, very good if you're building into like a shooting build. Even if you just want to take Grave Robber, you could too. If you want to play into a defense setup, you can. I don't think any perks on here that's like gonna really make this thing stand out compared to any other glaive that you currently have. And that's, I guess, kind of the problem with glaives. And maybe I just don't use them enough to know, I guess, like what perk could just absolutely change the way it performs. But overall, like, it's a glaive. Let's just be honest. It does look sick though. The fact that it has a little snake on the blade kind of makes me want to get it. I just don't know if I'm ever really going to use it. However, glaives did get a massive buff, and so far the exotic class glaives feel amazing. I haven't tried too many legendaries out, but they could end up becoming like the best thing in the game. And maybe you want to look out for this one. But next up is the competitive reward, Redrix Estoc. Estoc, I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce that. Probably should have looked it up. But in the first column, for PvE specifically, we have Rhyme Stiller and Demo. Obviously, this is going to have a ton of good PvP perks on it, but we're just covering the PvE ones in this video. Second column, you have Desperate Measures, Desperado, Headstone, Kill Clip, Rapid Hit, and Sword Launcher. So a bunch of other good perks in the right column, only 2 in the left column. So if you're playing into the Stasis build, obviously Rhyme Stiller Headstone is very good. Pulse Rifles are some of the best in the game right now in PvE, so this will be a very, very solid option. Also has very good hipfire, which is totally slept on since it is the PR 55 frames. So that's totally something you can look out for. But if you don't want to do this, you could even go the demo route. Say you don't even want the Frost Armor. I mean, Demo Headstone is still very, very good for most Stasis builds in the game, especially on Warlock. You can have a bunch of Stasis turrets out, and you're making headstones or crystals, I should say. It's going to be very easy to keep these up at all times. But even if you just go demo and a damage perk, it's still going to be very good. Rapid Hit, I guess, for a reload perk, but you're not really getting any other benefit other than just energy. So I don't think I could recommend Rapid Hit, but it is there. I would definitely just go with demo and a damage perk if you don't want to play into the fact that it is stasis, but I probably would. And I mean, demo headstone is disgusting, and Rhyme Stiller headstone is disgusting. You literally cannot go wrong with this, and I might even try to farm for one of these because I love demo headstone. It's like my favorite role in the game, specifically for just stasis warlock and even prismatic at this point now. And it can do some crazy things. But next up is going to be the Palindrome, another one everyone was excited to come back. And in the first column, we have Recycled Energy, Outlaw, and Explosive Payload. But in the second column, we do have Magnificent Howl, we have Rolling Storm, Desperate Measures, Master of Arms, and that's pretty much it. I do want to point out for Palindrome, though, it does have Wildcard, which is good, but it also has Vanguard's Vindication, so Final Blows to heal you. 2 very, very, very good origin traits for PvE. In the first column, explosive payload is just for sure going to be the way to go. If you want some ability energy, I guess recycled energy could be good, but that I'm not sure how good this perk is, and I feel like if you're trying to play into an ability build, you could just take Wellspring or Demo Peachless, depending on specifically what you want to do. Is probably better. So explosive payload is probably just going to be the go-to here, which is arguably the best perk in the game for hand cannons and most guns in general. In the second column, Master of Arms for the 15% damage increase, and then if you get another kill, you'll get 25% damage increase. So, explosive payload with a 25% damage increase, this thing is going to slay out. I don't know if it's not going to be like the best, I guess, in-game weapon. I mean, it will be pretty good. I'm honestly so sad they didn't put Volt Shot on it, but they did put Rolling Storm on it. So if you are playing into some Bolt Charge builds, I mean, explosive payload, and then you get a Bolt Charge on every single kill you do, this is going to have some very, very good build synergy here. Probably what most people are going to go for, unless they just don't care about Bolt Charge and they are trying to use it for something else. They just want an arc explosive payload hand cannon. Desperate Measures Master Arms is for sure going to be your way to go. Again, has very good origin traits. You could maybe play into something like Magnificent Howl with this, but honestly, I think other options are going to be better. But the last one, the one I think most people are probably excited for, is the Lotus-Eater. So this is going to be the first ever Void Rocket Sidearm. They just keep adding every single element as time goes on. But this thing also seems to have some pretty decent perks. I mean, we have Strategist, Feed and Frenzy, Repulse Race, Shoot to Loot, and Reconstruction, alongside a 1-for-all Destabilizing Rounds and Withering Gaze. I guess you could throw June the Junkie in there. It's not that good. So clearly some disgusting perks here. Right off the bat, Destabilizing Rounds, very, very good. We can get that out the way. It got buffed. It's volatile. It's disgusting. You compare that with Repulsor Brace, you get the Overshield. I think most people are probably going to go for this. And since they kind of changed it, so you have to, I guess, focus more on single target with these now, the Stabilizing Rounds would be a great option here. 1-for-all is still very good. You can still hit 3 targets with it. You get the damage increase. I don't know if it's going to be the best perk here, but it's still a very, very good option. Utility-wise, Withering Gaze, very good. You can weaken enemies with this. It's going to be even better for single target damage. You essentially are just giving yourself 15% more damage with this perk. So it kind of acts like a damage perk, but it's also a support perk, and that can also play into things like Repulsor Brace, so you can get the Overshield. So I think Withering Gaze or either Stabilized Rounds is for sure going to be the go-to option. I'm honestly leaning towards more Withering Gaze, but it's honestly up to you. If you just want to just slay out with adequate Destabilized Rounds, is the way to go. But for just utility, Withering Gaze is good. But speaking of utility, you can also pair that with things like Shoot to Loot. Shoot to Loot on a special weapon. It's honestly interesting because typically you want to pick the special up with the primary. So I mean, now you can just pick the special up with the special. So this could be good. I'm not exactly sure how good, but I assume with the explosion, it'll be really easy to pick the actual ammo up. You don't have to just like aim down sight and be very, very precise. So that's nice. But if you want to go through load speed, you can also go Feed and Frenzy. Feed and Frenzy Stabilized Rounds be good. 1-for-all, that would be good. For energy, Strategist, Withering Gaze, kind of more of a utility role. And I mean, even Reconstruction. I mean, Reconstruction with this, I mean, you're going to overflow the magazine. You're going to have a very, very large mag. You never have to reload. So again, you could just kind of ignore Feed and Frenzy because you could just take Reconstruction. I guess if you're shooting a lot, the Reconstruction may eventually lead to a reload. But you pair that with Stabilizing Rounds, it's going to be very good. Honestly, Reconstruction Withering Gaze would be like very solid if like a DPS rotation if you need to apply a weaken, because the gun's always going to be reloaded. You're going to have the ability to apply the weaken, and even if you just need to use it just on its own, you have a gun with a very large magazine, and again, the ability to just do 15% more damage if you do apply the weaken. Now, like I said, there's a lot of good rolls in this thing. Let me know what you want down in the comments. I'm probably personally just going to go for this. Maybe pair it with Shoot to Loot. Honestly, I probably get multiple. I mean, the Stabilizing Rounds, like all these are going to be good. Also with the Origin trait, again, it heals you on the kill. So it has potential to be one of the best items in the game, especially with this episode because of all the Void stuff going on. But that is all of the Ritual God rolls. Again, the Rocket is very, very good. The Joxer's Longsword here is also very, very, very good. Probably one of the best ones. Backcfang's a glaive. The Redrix Estoc or whatever is Another pulse rifle that's honestly decent for stasis builds. One of the best in the game for stasis builds, in my opinion. Low key, very, very good perk combinations. But again, just for stasis, it's very specific. Palindrome is decent. It has a good damage perk. It has explosive payload. You can also play into arc builds with it. There's really nothing to hate here. You also heal on every kill. And then again, the sidearm that we just went over has a bunch of crazy combinations. So like I said in the beginning, man, the richer weapons are low-key cooking this time around. I would not sleep on these. If you're out there farming, I mean, low-key Gambit's kind of the worst one, but that's good because it means you don't have to play Gambit. But everything else that's, you know, that's enjoyable to play, you can farm for those up and try to get some god rolls to these. I know I'm going to be doing it. I'm going to be saving all my engrams, especially for this rocket, probably, you know, for the sidearm as well. Let me know what you all want in the comments below. Let me know all the rolls that you're looking out for. Were you surprised by actually how decent these guns were? Typically people just kind of overlook them, but I would definitely not overlook them this episode. There's a lot of crazy things you could do with them. Anyways though, that's going to do it all for me. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you all have a great day. Peace.